suspension in the middle of the air. And what is it? Oh, it's a foot rule, look. It's a foot and it's also a rule. Lovely idea. But there's fingers at the back, aren't there? Ah, yes. So fingers and feet, foot and toes. That's the subject of this collection here, and that's the first one. I bought that, 1970s, early 70s, I think. And this was a little magic trick which I picked up somewhere. Nice idea, isn't it? This incidentally is supposed to be centimeters, so it's another double joke, but I quite like the idea of a foot rule. I think it's very sweet. So what else we've had? Well, the very first one I ever collected, I think probably in my late childhood, was a little usual plastic blooded finger, looking as though it's been severed or cut or something else. There's nothing else more to it than that. It's got well loved by the kids, as you can see, but it's, at least 50 years old, I think. That's the very first one I ever came across, a little rubber finger or plastic finger. And then I started looking around. I found some much weirder stuff. This is probably the weirdest I've ever come across. It's feet and fingers all in one piece. I think it's supposed to be a pencil top because there's a hole there, so you can put a pencil in it and so hold it like this. But what a bizarre sculpture that is. It doesn't do anything, doesn't move, it's just completely fixed. But very, very strange idea. I love it. And here's a nice idea. It's called a clap gun. Yes, a clap gun, because it claps and applauds. What a nice idea. And a nice action and a nice sound too. You can hardly see the L because it's in a very light yellow, I think it is. It looks like the word cap gun, but it's actually for clapping. So that was another nice toy to put into my collection of limbs. This is a very weird one because it's got this dreadful sticky plastic on the top of it. And the other end is a ballpoint pen, so you're supposed to write with it. But what this bit here is doing, I just can't work it out at all. It doesn't even act as a rubber. It's one of those stretchy plastic and feels pretty disgusting to me. But there we are. As I was talking about when you're working and writing your fingers to the bone or something like that. It's something weird in the packaging. It doesn't really appeal to me very much. But there we are. Now here's something which is quite interestingly made by a British company about 15 years ago. They're all fingertip toys or skill games. This one is ball bearing races, but you're supposed to not hold it in the hand like this, but hold it on the tip of your finger and then manipulate it and try to get the balls into, well, it's a kind of bagatelle actually, it looks like. So there's that sort, and then there's another sort which are strings where you've got to whip. You've got to do a bit of action like this and whip it up in the air so eventually the fish lands in the fish net. Can't even do it with two hands, but that's the idea. And the other one is a similar one, but quite a sweet idea this, because it's supposed to be an ice cream cone, and when you swing that up in the air so it finally lands in the right place, it looks like a complete ice cream together with a rather nice looking top to it. Nice one. So fingers only, tips of the fingers only. There's walking things, two of which look very much the part, but these are very, very old, so they're no longer working. It was a pity. This was a hopper, and this was a pair of feet, but this is what they should do. Here's a more recent one. It's a pair of feet, which is what that one did, and this one is just about working, just about, does two tips. Sweet. Toby did that about sometime in the late 80s, I think it was. And this was a piece of rock, which has got feet to it, but it hops. So it goes backwards too, and I think this one was doing the same action, but it's a little severed finger from, I think, Japan or something. So hopping feet and hopping fingers. Very bizarre. Love it. Here's something quite fun. It's a little waving device. This is just an ordinary mug. I put it on, but that's got quite a good strong sticker on it, and you could put it in a window, for instance, or in the car window in a house, and it's got a nice quality spring to it, so we'd do a bit of that. I suppose if we put it outside, a bit of breeze would make it, possibly with a breeze going past it, make it wave automatically, but it's rather sweet. It's a little waving hand, but for this purpose I've just put it on the back of that. Very sweet, I like it. Here's a very strange thing. These are sculptures made by an artisan in San Francisco, and they're all made of graphite. He's got a special way of preparing the graphite to make it work. So beautifully sculpted. I think I picked them up in MoMA in New York. But they're all made of graphite. And graphite, as you know, is a form of pencil lead. So it writes. And every part of them writes. There we are, he's writing with his toes. Or with his heels. Bizarre, isn't it? High. High. So graphite pieces. fingers and hands all able to write. And this thing here, which is, I didn't know quite what it was until I started playing with it. I realised what this is. It's a finger, but it's supposed to be a rubber. So it does actually rub out the graphite. If you mark something like that, a bit of doing that and you'll get rid of most of it, I think. So these write and that erases. Fingers and feet doing different functions. Wow. Here's something else I got many, many years ago. I think this is 1975 collection. It's a rubber hand. It's quite nice. You can put it into a sleeve or something like that of your own hand, or have it coming out of a piano or one of those, or out of a trunk, as if you're stuck and all you've got is a hand coming out. It's still kept its shape really quite well. And it's made of rubber. So it's something which invites you to think of a practical joke associated with it. Well, the last item is very, very weird indeed. It's a kind of toss-me thing, but isn't that bizarre? All fingers, look at that. Very strange indeed. Came out of the American market about 8 years ago, I think it was. Let's see if we can do a bit of fun here. Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness, yes, look at this. Strange, strange, strange things. I feel I'm getting all fingers and thumbs. You too, yes. Not surprised.